Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Zichrona Livracha, may her memory be an enduring blessing, taught real change, enduring change, happens one step at a time. Unfortunately, patience isn't necessarily my strong suit, but Rosh Hashanah, this new year, seems an invitation to take the long view, to look back, to participate in Cheshbon HaNefesh, the sacred act of considering past actions, to see where we have succeeded and where we have fallen short, to look forward with hope, with the belief that change is possible, and to consider how we get from here to there. Thankfully, we do not do this work alone. We gather today as part of the larger Jewish community and the Temple Shir Tikvah family in particular, to celebrate the opportunity that 5782 presents. How good it is that we do this work together. Hine Matov.
Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad.
We continue with a brief morning service as we greet this new day and this new year. Blessed are the works of your hands, O Holy One. Blessed are hands that have touched life. Blessed are hands that have nurtured a child. Blessed are hands that have embraced with love and friendship. Blessed are hands that have planted new seeds. Blessed are hands that have harvested ripe fields. Blessed are hands that have cleaned, washed, mopped, and scrubbed. Blessed are hands that have held pain. Blessed are hands that have become knotty with age. Blessed are hands that are wrinkled and scarred from doing justice. Blessed are hands that hold the promise of the future. Blessed are the works of your hands, O Holy One.
We are holy, all places holy. We are all B'Tselem Elohim. Each day is holy, each word is holy. When we can turn, be turned, and return. We are all holy, all places holy. We are all B'Tselem Elohim. Each day is holy, each word is holy. When we can turn, be turned, and return. We are all holy, all places holy. We are all B'Tselem Elohim. Each day is holy, each word is holy. When all places holy. We are all B'Tselem Elohim. Each day is holy, each word is holy. When we can turn, be turned, and return. When we can turn, be turned, and return. When we can turn, be turned, and return.
On a recent morning, this group of friends greeted each other, having not seen one another for a while. So how long has it been for them? A week? A month? A year? A year and a half? Actually, according to the description of the video, it's only been overnight. All that noise, all that love, all that power, and they haven't seen each other since dinner. The part of me that wanted to be a veterinarian when I grew up is tempted to give a whole sermon on animal ritual greetings. Pull apart each of the elephant's actions, the sounds, try to decipher their meaning, the intentions behind what they're doing. Alas, Calculus 2 stopped my dreams of being a vet, and I stand before you today a rabbi, and truly grateful to be one. What interests me now about the elephants is not so much the meaning ascribed to their greetings, but rather the fact that they do it each time they are reunited. Doesn't matter how long it's been. Animals, as it turns out, are masters of ritual. According to Caitlin O'Connell, who studies animal behavior, animal rituals are typically performed in a precise manner and repeated often because while each action within the ritual in and of itself isn't meaningful, the total result is. As humans, we tend to elevate the importance of going with the flow, rolling with the punches, or even just keep on keeping on. Animals know something we forget, that certain moments are worth elevating over the humdrum of daily living. Which brings me to this moment. This is the 36th time Temple Shir Tikvah has gathered to celebrate Rosh Hashanah, the New Year. 36. Double chai, double life. This celebration of life has made it twice as important not to assemble 700 of you to sing in an underventilated building. We respect life. And yet, I have the audacity to believe, to pray, that right now you feel joined, aligned, connected with our beloved Temple Shir Tikvah community. We started 5781 huddled in our homes, alone and in fear. Hundreds of thousands had already died, millions sickened. The dark days of winter hadn't yet arrived. We washed our hands and masked, but we did not truly know what could keep us safe, what protections worked. And so we stayed home whenever we could. And those who could not, our essential in-person workers, risked their lives daily so that our world could continue, so that people could be as safe as was possible. While we reached for hope and hopefulness, in truth, we were in such a difficult and scary place. Now, we are at the new year of 5782. In some ways, it would be easy to enter this year the same way we enter every new year, with the same rituals. Every Rosh Hashanah, we sound the Shofar, and we enter what is known as the season of introspection. Every Yom Kippur, we make an accounting of the year that has passed, and we chart a path forward. But for many of us, we could do these rituals in our sleep. This year, though, is a different kind of year. We've lost loved ones. We've lost jobs. We've lost a year and a half of the life we knew. And still, sadly, the uncertainty that has marked our lives for 18 months of pandemic living continues. But your presence here today tells me that we did not lose connection. We did not lose hope. We did not lose faith. So how do we rewrite these old rituals for our new reality? How do we use rituals of old to prepare for tomorrow, informed by, but not determined by, what we have been through? How do we reckon with the ongoing ambiguity, the lingering questions of, are we really here again? Still? The book Burnout by Emily and Amelia Nagoski was strongly recommended to me this past spring. After that regular self-deprecating voice in my head determined that it was not a comment on that person's newly expanded view into my life, thanks to all the meetings being held from home, I really started to appreciate the gift of the referral. The first chapter feels deeply resonant for today. In it, the authors, who, by the way, do a tremendous job of reading their book aloud for Audible, explain the stress response cycle. After a person has been through an extreme state of fear or anxiety, i.e., all of us, seemingly all the time for the past year and a half, they must take an action, usually through ritualized activity, to complete the cycle of stress. When one has gone completely through the stress response cycle, that person's body is given time to metabolize what they have been through, and sometimes unabashedly celebrate their survival. As a result, they are able to start again without bringing the physiological effects of past stresses into the unfolding future. Think of a child who's gotten spooked, runs to their parent for a hug, and then immediately jumps into a silly game with that parent. Or think of those elephants who dance for joy upon being reunited. They are intuitively completing the stress response cycle. I know we are not done with COVID. It's even felt of late that things are going the opposite direction. We're going backwards. But there are ways in which life is returning to normal. Kids start school in just a few days. Some offices have reopened. Gatherings of friends and family have resumed. While Delta is making us extremely aware that nothing about tomorrow is guaranteed, many of us are nonetheless facing a life that reminds us of the before times, for better and for worse. And my strong suggestion is that we use today, this Rosh Hashanah, to complete the stress response cycle of what we experienced in the past year. Let us examine one of the rituals it would be easy to take for granted and see if we can reframe it to achieve that end. What about sounding the shofar? Such an ancient custom. There were even times in Reformed Jewish history when they attempted to replace the ancient ritual with the sounding of trumpets. But blessedly, that failed, and we are left to hear a person coax music from a ram's horn. It's ancient, primordial, powerful. Every year, I have the honor of calling the different sounds. Tekiah, Shivarim, Teruah. Before each note, I inhale, and as I call the name, release. And in response, Barry or Joel breathes deeply in and answers with the shofar. I'm not sure if you can see it where you're normally seated in town hall, but shofar calling is a fully embodied experience. We breathe deeply, we set our bodies just so. We inhale and exhale. Tekiah.
Tekiah,
Shivarim,
Shivarim,
Teruah.
Teruah.
This year, I want our whole community to be part of sounding the shofar. I want us to feel these ancient shouts of demarcation, of celebration, and I want us to have the experience of them reverberating through our whole body. As we breathe, as we set our body and our voices and call to one another, I want you to imagine all that you have been carrying this past year. I want you to imagine it going out, floating away, making an exit with your breath. I want you to let it go. As your breath leaves your body, release the past year and a half. In this moment, let us complete the cycle. Here's what I'm releasing with the call of the shofar. Tekiah, one long sustained note. I'm letting go of how long it has been since we gathered safely together. Teruah, three notes rising plaintively, one after another. This past year, most of us spent praying, let it be okay. Let it be okay. Let it be okay. Our fears may have somewhat abated with the gift of the scientific miracle of the vaccine, but they are not gone, and certainly not forgotten. Shivarim, the ninefold staccato shattering sounds. Each note seems as an acknowledgement of what is broken and needs to be fixed in our community, in our country, in our world. We can name 1,000 things, it seems, but here are just a few, 9 exactly, of the things I'm thinking about with the sounding of each note. The COVID pandemic, white supremacy, misogyny, xenophobia, the climate crisis, financial inequality, problems in our healthcare system, our unequal criminal justice system, and gun violence in America. Each note will be a cry from my throat about what is broken. But then, having breathed out so much loss, sadness, fear, and confusion, I return to Kia. I breathe in, and I call a new call this time. The trumpet of joyous return, the possibility of new beginning, the shout of hope. I'm going to give you a second now to consider. What are the stresses you have been carrying in 5781 that you need to finish the stress cycle on? Be as specific as you can with yourself. So let's give this a try, shall we? I'll call the name of the shofar call to you, and I'll wait. I'll ask you to join your voice to Don Abrams, who is acting as the voice of our community for us today. Don't leave me hanging. Call the name back to me after I have called it to you. And then the shofar will sound, answering us both. So I invite you, stand up, set your feet, and breathe deeply with me. Tikvah,
Tikvah,
Shevarim,
Shevarim,
Teruah,
Teruah,
Tikvah.
Tikvah.
How do you feel? Are you breathing? Good. Because I want to talk to you about another way to mark the end of the stress cycle. When I was a kid, we had a New Year's ritual, a Rosh Hashanah ritual. We ate brisket, kasha bow ties, roast chicken, kugel. I'm sure there was a salad somewhere, although I never saw it. The meal was scrumptious. The company was loud and raucous as we celebrated the new year together. So today, or sometime soon, I want you to gather in what feels like safe community. Get together with some folks outside, masked. And when you do, I want you to think of those elephants. Truly, full body expressions of joy. Share an intentional moment where you mutually acknowledge the power of reconnection, even if you've only been apart for an hour. And be warned, if you're coming today to our communal meal and ice cream social, there's a good chance when I see you, I'm going to bellow my joy. I'm going to dance. I'm going to shake my hips. And I'm going to make sure you know how deeply grateful I am to see you. During the 10 days of awe, the next 10 days, I would love for you to continue to actively engage in rituals of release and celebration. Both ideas I described today involve community. But I think most of us have some work to do on our own, too. What do you need to do individually in the next 10 days to process all we've been through? Burnout suggests 6 other ways to complete the stress response cycle. Intentional breathing, positive social interaction, laughter, affection, a big old cry, and creative expression. Don't worry if those went by too fast. I'll send you an email tomorrow to remind you of them. But today, on Rosh Hashanah, can you commit to exploring at least one of these for the next 10 days? If you do, I predict you will be truly ready to enter 5782. Shana Tova, to a good year.
Achat sha'alti meit Adonai ota avakesh. Achat sha'alti meit Adonai ota avakesh. Shivti bevet Adonai kol yemei chayai lachazot benoam Adonai ulevaker behechalo lachazot benoam Adonai ulevaker behechalo. Yai lai 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 yai lai 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 lai
We continue with HaMelech. HaMelech HaYoshev Al Kisei Ram v'Nisa Shochen Ad Marom V'Kadosh Shemo V'Chatuv Ranenu Tzadikim Badonai Lai Sharim Nava Tehillah Befi Yesharim Titromam Uvdivrei Tzadikim Titbarach Uvilshon Chasidim Titkadash
ובקרב קדושים תתהלל, ובמקהלות רבבות עמך בית ישראל. ברינה יתפאר שמך מלכנו בכל דור ודור, ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, אל מלך גדול בתשבחות, אל ההודעות אדון הנפלאות, הבוחר בשירי זמרה, מלך אלכי העולמים. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא יברך חירותי, וימליך מלכותי. בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בקלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה, ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה ולעילה, מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמא ואמרו amen.
We invite you to rise, embody your spirit.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed, le'olam va'ed. Lai lai lai, lai lai lai, yalla 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 lai lai lai.
Hello, sun in my face. Hello, you who make the morning and spread it over the fields and into the faces of the tulips and the nodding morning glories, and into the windows of even the most miserable and the crotchety. Best preacher that ever was, dear star that just happens to be where you are in the universe, to keep us from ever darkness, to ease us with warm touching, to hold us in the great hand of light. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Watch now how I start the day in happiness, in kindness.
Baruch atah Adonai habocher ba'amo Yisrael be'ahava. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
You may re-find your seats.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha Vishinantam levanecha vidibarta bam beshivtecha bevetecha uvlechtecha vaderech uveshochbecha uvekumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha vehayu letotafot bein einecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihiot lachem lelohim ani Adonai Elohechem.
The Israelites walked into the Reed Sea 1 foot at a time. What were they thinking about as the waters rose up to their legs, chilling their hearts, advancing toward their open mouths? We continue to walk, here, now, 1 foot at a time, on our better days, forward. Alone, I cannot reach the far shore without drowning. Somehow, I don't go under. The person to my right holds me up. Something I cannot see holds them up. Blessed is the source of help, so often unexpected. I step forward. The sea is vast.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora teilot o sefele, nora teilot o sefele.
As we prepare for the Amidah, words of prayer and poem by Marcia Falk, Opening the Heart. At the year's turn, in the days between, we step away from what we know, wall and window, roof and road, into the spaces we cannot yet name, cloud and sky, cloud and wings. Slowly the edges begin to yield, the hard places soften. Wind and clover, red and river. The gate to forgiveness opens. We rise in body and spirit for the Amidah.
Adonai Svatai Tivton, Adonai Svatai Tivton, Ufi Yagir Tehiratecha, Ufi Yagir Tehiratecha, Adonai Svatai Tivton, Adonai Svatai Tivton, Ufi Yagir Tehiratecha, Ufi Yagir Tehiratecha, Adonai Svatai Tivton, Adonai Svatai Tivton, Ufi Yagir Tehiratecha, Ufi Yagir Tehiratecha, Adonai Svatai Tivton, Adonai Svatai Tivton, Ufi Yagir Tehiratecha, Ufi Yagir Tehiratecha.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu ve'imoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Hakol V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava Zochreinu Lechaim Melech Hafetz B'Chaim V'chotvenu B'Sefer HaChaim Lemancha Elohim Chaim Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ve'ezorat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechaye HaKol Atah Rav מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה. מי כמוך אל הרחמים, זוכר יצוריו לחיים ברחמים, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
Our actions help us to live in such a way that when we suffer life's darkest depredations, we will always have ways of coping with them. Our actions may not change the ultimate outcome one iota, but they alter our attitude, bolster our ability to withstand challenges, help us to handle unavoidable misfortunes better, and see life's value amid chaos and dismay. Rabbi Aaron Pankrin, Zichrono Livracha, may his memory be a blessing. Let us proclaim the power of this day, a day whose holiness awakens deepest awe and inspires highest praise for your dominion. For your throne is a throne of love, your reign is a reign of truth.
ונתן תוקף קדושת היום, קדושת היום, כי הוא נורא נורא ואיום. ובו תנשא מלכותך, וייכון בחסד כיסאך, ותשב עליו באמת, באמת, אמת, כי אתה הוא דיין ומוכיח ויודע ועד וכותב וחותם וסופר ומונה ותזכור כל הנשכחות ותפתח את ספר הזיכרונות ומאליו יקרא וחותם יד כל אדם בו.
Please read with me. And so a great shofar will cry, Tikvah. A still small voice will be heard. Angels in a whirl of fear and trembling will say, Behold the day of judgment, for they too are judged. In your eyes, even they are not blameless. All who come into this world pass before you like a sheep before their shepherd. As a shepherd considers the flock when it passes beneath the staff, you count and consider every life. You set bounds, you decide destiny. You inscribe judgments.
Berosh Hashanah yikatevun, uveyom som kippur yechatemun. Berosh Hashanah yikatevun, uveyom som kippur yechatemun. Kama ya'avorun v'chama yibareun, mi yichye u'mi yamut, mi v'kitso u'mi lo v'kitso. Berosh Hashanah yikatevun, uveyom som kippur yechatemun. Berosh Hashanah yikatevun, uveyom som kippur yechatemun. Mi va'esh u'mi va'mayim, mi va'cherev u'mi va'chaya, mi va'ra'av u'mi va'tzama, mi va'rash u'mi va'magefa, mi va'chanika u'mi va'skila. Berosh Hashanah yikatevun, uveyom som kippur yechatemun. Berosh Hashanah yikatevun, uveyom som kippur yechatemun. Mi yanuach u'mi yanua, mi yashkit u'mi yitoraf, mi yishalev u'mi yityaser, mi ya'ani u'mi ya'ashir, mi yushpal u'mi yarum.
Together. On Rosh Hashanah, this is written. On the fast of Yom Kippur, this is sealed. How many will pass away from this world? How many will be born into it? Who will live and who will die? Who will reach the ripeness of age and who will be taken before their time? Who by fire and who by water? Who by war and who by beast? Who by famine and who by drought? Who by earthquake and who by plague? Who by strangling and who by stoning? Who will rest and who will wander? Who will be tranquil and who will be troubled? Who will be calm and who tormented? Who will live in poverty and who in prosperity? Who will be humbled and who exalted?
Uteshuva, utefila, utsedaka, ma'avirin et roa hagezera.
But through return to the right path, through prayer and righteous giving, we can transcend the harshness of the decree.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, kvodo. Adir, adirenu Adonai, Adonenu ma'adir, Shemcha b'chol haaretz. Baruch kevod Adonai mimkomo. Echad hu Eloheinu, hu Avinu, hu Malkeinu, hu Moshi'enu, vehu Yashmi'enu, berachamav le'enei kol chai. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohayich Zion, ledor vador. Hallelujah. Ledor vador nagid God lecha, ulenetzach netzachim kedushacha nagdish, v'shivchacha Eloheinu mipinu lo yamush, le'olam va'en. Baruch ata Adonai HaMelech HaKadosh.
Malchuyot. What does it mean to proclaim your sovereignty? Before the Big Bang, there was you. We allowed habits to rule us. Help us throw off that yoke so our best selves may serve. Help us surrender. Help us fall to our knees and find home in your embrace. Help us be unashamed of yearning. Strengthen our awe and our love so our prayers will soar.
Zikra note. God, remember us, our good intentions, and our tender hearts. Remember our ancestors asking for forgiveness and the wail of the ram's horn. Today we open ourselves to the call of the shofar crying. Sleepers, awake! Help us shed old memories that no longer serve. Help us remember you.
Shofar wrote, "The shofar reminds us of the ram in the thicket. Where are we ensnared? It shatters complacency, it wails with our grief, it stutters with our inadequacy. The shofar cries out, I was whole, I was broken, I will be whole again. Make shofars of us, God. Make us resonating chambers for your love."
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lishmoa kol shofar.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shechiyanu v'kiyanu v'hiyanu azman hazeh.
Amen. Tekiah. Shvarim truah. Tekiah. Tekiah. Shevarim. Tekiah. Tikvah, Truah, Tikvah Gedolah,
Whoop. Yeah.
Arashet Sifateinu Yarav Lefanecha Eram Venisa. Arashet Sifateinu Yarav Lefanecha Eram Venisa. Mevinu ma'azin mabit u'makshiv l'kol tikiyatenu. Ukabel berachamim uvratzon seder malchuyotenu.
This morning, I apologize, I've misplaced where I'm going to be. I'm back with you all, I hope. This morning, we read the story of Breshit, the sacred creation myth found in our Torah. Every year, this story is taught to incredulous young children in our community. And on my lucky years, one finds me in the hall after they've learned the story and demands to know, do I really think this is true? True's a funny word, is how I usually begin my reply. The story is not true in that Reform Jews affirm science and not creationism. But the story is true in that, in hearing it, year in and year out, we are helped to live the cycle of our lives searching for reason, purpose, meaning in our creation, in our existence. When I told our wise administrator, Michael Glicksman, that I wanted to teach the creation story as an invitation to live your life as if you believe it has purpose, whether or not you believe that to be true on the cosmic level. He pointed out that the choice I was offering was really, did we want to be a Danny Rojas or a Jamie Tart in this summer's television hit, Ted Lasso? Both play football or soccer, but Danny Rojas believes that football is life and plays to serve the game. Jamie Tart believes the game is there to serve him. It would be easy to give in to nihilism. On years like this in particular, to throw up one's hands and say, there is no God in heaven or earth. There is no one-to-one on what I do and what I get. There can be no right, no wrong. So let's party. But reading the creation myth seems to me an invitation to say instead, like the existentialists, there is no God in heaven or earth. I'll leave what you say at that part to you. So I alone must figure out what it means to make a life that is meaningful and good. Or in the words of Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, let them remember that there is meaning beyond absurdity. Let them be sure that every little deed counts, that every word has power, and that we can, everyone, do our share to redeem the world in spite of all of the absurdities and all of the frustrations and all of the disappointments. And above all, Remember that the meaning of life is to build a life as if it were a work of art. You are not a machine. Start working on this great work of art called your own existence. We turn to the chanting of Torah.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hamborach. Baruch Adonai Hamborach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz ve'haaretz hayta tohu vavohu v'choshech al pnei tehom v'ruach Elohim mirachevet al pnei hamayim vayomer Elohim yehi or vayehi or. Vayar Elohim et ha'or ki tov, vayavdel Elohim ben ha'or uven ha'choshech, vayikra Elohim le'or yom ulechoshech kara laila, vayehi erev vayehi voker yom echad.
Vayomer Elohim, Yikavu hamahayim mitachar hashamayim el makom echad, v'tera'eh hayabasha vayhichein, vayikra Elohim liyabasha ha'eretz, u'mikvei hamayim kara ayamim, vayar Elohim ki tov.
Vayas Elohim et shnei hama'orot hagadolim, et hama'or hakadol lememshelet hayom, v'et hama'or hakaton lememshelet halayla, v'et hakochavim, vayitein otam Elohim birkiah hashamayim leha'ir al ha'aretz v'limshol bayom uvalayla ulahavdil bein ha'or uvein ha'choshech vayar Elohim ki tov.
Vayomer Elohim, Yisratzu hamayim, sheret nefesh chaya, va'of ya'ofef hal ha'aretz, el pnei rekia hashamayim. Vayivra Elohim et hataninim hagadolim, va'et kol nefesh chaya, ha'romethet, asher Shartzu hamayim liminehem, ve'et kol ov kanaf liminehu, ve'yar Elohim ki tov.
Vayomer Elohim, Totzei ha'aretz, nefesh chaya limina, behema v'remes, V'haito eretz lemina, vayehi chen, vayas Elohim, et chayat haaretz lemina, ve'et habehema lemina, ve'et kol remes hadama leminehu, vayar Elohim ki tov.
U'lechol chayat Aretz ulechol hashamayim ulechol romes al haaretz אשר בו נפש חיה, את כל ירק עשב לאוכלה, ויהי כן. וירא אלוהים את כל אשר עשה, והנה טוב מאוד. ויהי ערב, ויהי בוקר, יום השישי.
ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם. ויכל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי וקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Avinu Malkeinu, we stand in awe, we draw close in love. Avinu Malkeinu, the power that passes through us and pervades all things. Avinu Malkeinu, the divine that is present within and among us. We rise in body or spirit for Avinu Malkeinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Kolenu. We speak the sacred truth aloud. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu Lefanecha. We stand as one, accountable for our sins. Avinu Malkeinu, Chamol Aleinu Va'al Olalenu V'tapenu. We yearn for true compassion for our children most of all. Avinu Malkeinu, Kale Dever V'cherev V'ra'av Me'aleinu. May we resist the ravage of illness, fear, and despair. Avinu Malkeinu, Kale Kol Tsar Umastin Me'aleinu. Let us summon courage to withstand our enemies. Avinu Malkeinu, Kodvenu B'Sefer Chaim Tovim. Let the goodness of this gift of life be engraved upon our hearts. Avinu Malkeinu, Chadesh Aleinu Shana Tova. May we taste anew the sweetness of each day. Avinu Malkeinu, Male Yadeinu Mibirchotecha. Let us wake up to the blessings already in our grasp. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Korvenu Bekonenu, Ki ein banu masim, Aseh imanu, Tzedaka v'chesed, Aseh imanu, Tzedaka v'chesed, v'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu. ועננו כי אין בנו מעשים.
Remaining standing in body or spirit, we prepare ourselves for the concluding prayers of this morning's service. Please note that as our minhag hamakom, as the custom of our community has become over these last couple of years since the gift of these new prayer books have arrived, we are using a rewritten Aleinu prayer on page 287. It allows us to lose ourselves in the melody that is so familiar as we move to the end of a service, but acknowledges in word the connection between our life and all lives. Please join us in the Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא עשנו לשומרי האדמה, והוא שמנו לשליחי התורה, שהוא שם חיינו איתם, וגורלנו עם כל העולם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו אחד.
On this Yom HaZikaron, this day of memory, there are stars up above, so far away we only see their light, long, long after the star itself is gone. So it is with the people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. I invite you now, as our thoughts turn to loved ones whom death has taken from us in recent days, those who died at this season in years past, those who live on in your heart. As our hearts turn to these names, I invite you to share their name this morning, either out loud where you are praying, or using the chat function of the technology you are using to join our community. Our heart opens to the wider circle of loss in our community, wherever grief touches the human family. Zichronam levracha. May their memories be a blessing in this new year and always. We become one community of memory with the words of Mourner's Kaddish. Please join with me. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei, ve'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon, uvchaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'gala uvizman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mivorach Leolam U'almei Almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei Dekudasha Brichu. Le'ela ul'ela mikol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Damiram me'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shamaya, V'chaim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru. Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, V'imru. Amen. May the source of peace bestow peace on all who mourn. And may we be a source of comfort to all who are bereaved, as we all say, Amen.
Oseh Shalom B'mromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'imru Amen. May the one who makes peace above make peace descend on all of us, and Israel. Let us say Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'imru Amen. May the one who makes peace above make peace descend on all of us, and Israel. Let us say Amen. Let us say Amen. Let us say
A few announcements before we move into a closing benediction and song. For those of us joining in our first day fiesta and Tashlich service, we look forward to greeting you with all of that joy and enthusiasm we promised earlier in the service. If you are joining with community and friends, please make sure to wish a hearty and deep-felt Shana Tova to each other from us. Tomorrow's services begin, second day Rosh Hashanah services begin at 10:30 a.m., available in all of the same places that services were available to you today. And an amazing lunch and learn opportunity with Rabbi Suzanne Offit, What's Up with Unatana Tokef, a chance for us to dig into that problematic liturgy we recite year in and year out and make a meaning that holds for us this year, begins on Zoom tomorrow at noon. We look forward to joining with you again tomorrow as our New Year's celebrations continue. Words of blessing by Rabbi Elise Goldstein, which we would like to offer you today. May we never again take for granted the offered handshake from a stranger new to our congregation, the quick catch-up conversation with the people in the row behind us, a crowded Kol Nidre, singing together in harmony, the sight of children going row to row with baskets of instruments, having a slice of challah for Shabbat, the taste of a small kiddush cup of grape juice, or being in shul.
May we never again take for granted breathing deeply without a mask, making plans for the future, crossing a border, ease of travel, a busy airport, a birthday party with hugs, having loved ones hold your children, hugging, sharing a sandwich, human contact, coffee with a friend, physical touch, family, our belief in science, fact-based public discourse, the sacredness of connection, life itself.
This year, may we become the people we wanted to be last year. May this coming year be better than the one which has passed, because of the one which has passed.
May we stay strong for each other because we have experienced weakness.
May we stay bound to each other because we have experienced isolation.
May we stay close to each other because we have experienced distance.
May our new normal be better than the one we think we will return to. Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
Happy New Year.